The Detroit Lions were one of the biggest shocks in this past NFL season. After beginning the year 1-6 and talk about the Lions picking number 1 overall, almost nobody could have predicted an 8-2 finish down the stretch. Head coach Dan Campbell saved his job and proved he's a legitimate head coach among tons of other rising stars on the roster. Unfortunately for the Lions, they were not able to make the playoffs and they finished as the 8th seed in the NFC. Though there were many reasons for the Lions turning their season around, there is a narrative in sports media and amongst Lion fans that Jared Goff is a big reason for the team's success. After all, Goff led the team to 9 wins, throwing for 4,400 yards, 29 touchdowns, to just 7 interceptions. To a lot of people, it would be crazy for the Lions to make a quarterback change after the team rallied down the stretch and the offense ranking 5th in points per game overall. I believe, however, the Detroit Lions need to pick a quarterback with their first-round pick and eventually move on from Jared Goff. I want to say first, I am in no way suggesting that Jared Goff is a bad quarterback because that would be a total disingenuous argument. I like Jared Goff overall, and I think he represents the middling tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. When putting Goff's career into perspective, it's important to understand the highs and lows of his play. Back when Goff was on the Rams in 2017, new head coach Sean McVay elevated Goff's production and he looked like a completely different player than what he appeared as a rookie. From 2017 to 2019, really 3 of Goff's best seasons, he was viewed as a potential top 10 quarterback. He even went to a Super Bowl back in 2018 during a season which he threw for almost 4,700 yards and 33 touchdowns on a totally loaded offense with the best offensive mind in the NFL at the time. It wasn't until 2020 that Goff really fell off of a cliff and was eventually replaced by Matt Stafford in a trade to the Lions. It's important to remember this because that's how low the league viewed Goff. He was eventually used as a pawn to acquire Matthew Stafford, and his contract was so bad that the Lions were one of the only teams that could afford him. I'm not saying this to use it as evidence against Goff, it's just to put his career into perspective. I also hold the position that Goff's game this year was well overrated and was not nearly as good as the box score numbers indicate. His PFF passing grade this year was 71.6, which ranks 20th overall in the NFL. He had just 18 big-time throws to 24 turnover-worthy plays. He was also really bad under pressure, ranking under guys like Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz. I also don't think it's an accident that the league views Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson in such a high regard and could very well earn himself a head coaching job. In large part, it's because he elevated Jared Goff and made his numbers look a lot better than he actually is. Most of the offense is designed and Goff is a distributor. There's not a lot of plays outside of structure and he doesn't really possess many elite traits that a lot of the top quarterbacks have. What I'm really trying to get at here is Goff is already well past the peak of his career. And what that really means for the Lions is he's probably never going to get back to that 2018 version. And I would be really surprised if he's ever viewed as a top 10 quarterback again. I mean, just think about it. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Rodgers, Lawrence, Herbert, Hurts, Brady. Hell, even Geno Smith looked amazing this year. The point is, unless he transforms himself into the player he was over 4 years ago, you are not getting a top-tier quarterback. That should be evidence in and of itself that Detroit needs a new quarterback. Purgatory is the worst place to possibly be. Nothing is worse than going 7-9 or 8-8 every year because you will probably never make the playoffs, and if you do make it, you probably get eliminated in round 1. And most of the time, you're not bad enough to be picking atop the draft and be selecting a new quarterback. The Raiders are learning this lesson right now with Derek Carr. The Bengals dealt with this for years with Andy Dalton, or the Titans with Ryan Tannehill. Like Jared Goff, these guys are all good quality starting quarterbacks, but they'll never be good enough to carry a team to a championship, and will probably never get close unless they're in an impeccable situation like Goff was back in 2018. With all that being said, I will agree just moving on from Jared Goff is not a simple move. I mean, for one, he's not a bad player, and his play this season doesn't necessarily warrant the Lions kicking him to the street. But because the Lions have the Rams' first-round pick, they're actually in a position to take a quarterback. Lions fans, please stay with me and just think about this. If Jared Goff is as good as you may think he is, the odds the Lions are going to be picking anywhere close in the top 6 like they are right now. Because of the position that they are in, shouldn't they at least consider taking a quarterback? Like, if Goff is what you say he is, the Lions will probably never pick in the top 6 for many years to come, meaning they're not going to be getting a top prospect like they have the position to do this year. They should recognize that fact, and if they like a quarterback, they should take him. The guy that really comes to mind for me is CJ Stroud from Ohio State. He's a player with good arm talent, accuracy, and poise, and he makes really, really good reads. He's a guy that needs a structure around him to succeed, and given the Lions' roster talent in general, and the fact that they would likely sit behind Goff, I think that this makes a ton of sense. I understand that overall this is an extremely controversial position because, again, Goff's numbers are good, the Lions went on a run, and they have a good team, and they could very well make the playoffs next year. The point that I'm making is don't be the Tennessee Titans for the last 5 years, staying in purgatory with Ryan Tannehill. The reason why that's so hard to get out of is because Tannehill is not bad enough, he doesn't suck enough, that you're ever going to get a top 5 pick. The Lions have the draft capital. This is when you do it, because if Goff does take even a slight step back, you're probably not going to go on a run. And how long are they going to have offensive coordinator Ben Johnson for? He may get a head coaching job. I mean, he's probably a big reason why Goff had so much success this year. Don't you think that he's going to take just a little bit of a drop-off next year? I mean, what are the odds that he plays as well as you think he did this year? All I'm saying is if I was the Lions, I would really consider staying at 6 and taking a quarterback, or potentially even trading up to get one. They have the capital, they have the resources. This is when you do it. Don't stay complacent. Lions fans, I know that you probably didn't like this one, but I would love to hear your opinion if you would let me know down in the comment section below. Link there, I have all of my socials, so you can hit me up there, let me know your thoughts. Like and subscribe, it's the easiest way to support the channel, and I will see you all in my next video.